The chapter begins showing a very old wall almost completely ruined. Then we cut to the other part of the room where there's a very old chair almost breaking, and we notice that there are many bars as well. Then, immediately after, we can see a mosquito passing by and flying away, and so the mosquito was thinking, freedom sang, right? Now I'm going to gain my freedom. That's when a hand appeared at that exact moment and ended the mosquito with a slap. The mosquito was done for. You might think the guy would take the mosquito and throw it away, but no. He looked at the mosquito and the mosquito looked back at him. And since it was his only food at that moment, the guy picked it up and was about to eat the mosquito, but first he gave it a little lick. Just a light one, CR. After that, the guy tasted that bitter taste. It was really bad. And have you ever eaten a mosquito? After he ate that mosquito, he said, "Man, this is my life now, so there's not much I can do." He grabbed a cloth and wiped his hands, and he sat there thinking, well, I guess I'll write in my diary since there's not much else for me to do at the moment. The light started flickering, and he sat in his chair, took his beloved diary and started writing a few things, but he was wondering, well, what am I going to do now? He started writing about everything that happened in his life, the life he's living now, but he wondered, what would my name be? Oh, but I don't know my name. Then he ended up looking at a photo, but in that photo there were only 2 images, and he kept wondering, will I ever meet my mother? As he looked at the photo, he saw his mother there and kept wondering if she was okay, if she was alive, if everything his father said was a lie, because the only memory he had was that his mother ended up giving him to his father, and after that she disappeared, and he stayed there thinking, did she abandon me or something? Well, we don't know, but we will find out soon. After that, he just kept thinking if his mother really abandoned him, or if his mother was done for. This thought kept running through his head all the time, but there was one thing that made him happy. One day, getting out of there. That's when his father appeared and said, "Hey, are you dreaming or thinking about freedom?" The guy came in with an intimidating presence towards our protagonist. The guy got really angry and told him to get away from him, and he said, "Calm down, buddy. I'm your father. You have to obey me." And he replied, "Obey? If you were really my father, you wouldn't lock me down here and do these things to me." Then he started talking about how his mother was much better than him and all that, without mentioning that this guy is his father, If the guy's father already locks him in the dungeon and leaves him living hidden from everything, he kept complaining that everything that happened was his fault and all that. Now he doesn't even have the freedom to go out because his father literally locked him inside this place. He kept saying that there are many, many doors there too, and he had no way out now. But he was hatching a certain plan since his father had all the keys to each door. And he was there thinking, well, I'm going to have to catch my father off guard and get his key. I'm going to get out of here, but that's when your father told him that if you have or even intend to try something, I think you better give up because you're going to spend your whole life here because the apocalypse is coming, and I have to protect you. That's how he put some cookies on the table and told our protagonist everything that happened was because your mother didn't believe the apocalypse was coming, and as soon as she gave up, she ended up jumping off a bridge and passed away. The protagonist kept saying that all of this is a lie and everything, but his father said, "No, it's not a lie. The apocalypse will happen here on Earth, so I'm protecting you. The only safe place you'll have is this place here, so you can't leave." The more his father talked to him, the angrier he got, and his father said, "Hey, look at that, huh? You have to obey me. I'm your father. I'm doing this for your own good." The protagonist got very angry and started saying a bunch of things, but he was trembling with rage because the guy had been furious since his childhood. His father kept him locked up in that dungeon, and he couldn't even see the sunlight, couldn't hear almost anything, and he said that everything that happened was his fault because of his mother and everything. Got it? After that, he saw a book on the table and said, "Oh, it looks like you're writing some pretty interesting things here, huh? Like freedom, you don't have freedom, so give that up." That's when he took the book and started setting it on fire. And the protagonist said, "Stop it." And he ended up setting the book on fire and told our protagonist to give up the idea of leaving from here. Got it? He said he would stay locked up here as long as he wanted. And the protagonist said, "Shut up. You're not my father because a real father would never do this to his son." And he replied, "But I'm helping you. I'm doing this for your own good, my son." And the protagonist said, "Shut up. You're not my father. Get out of here." That's when his father turned his back and left the place. He stayed there watching from afar because now the great lesson time had come. In this place, he doesn't hear much noise. Not even people talking or anything, got it? But he kept thinking, are we the only inhabitants of this place here? I don't think so because it's a very large place even. He kept wondering, and now how am I going to get this key? Our protagonist has some classes there constantly with his father, who teaches him how he will survive. He has to do some training, and how he will live in the world when the apocalypse happens. Got it? But the protagonist didn't care about this class because the only thing he had in mind was his books. He loved reading very much, and the only moment he enjoyed was when he was reading those books because he felt good. It was practically as if he traveled to another world, to another place, and his imagination was fluid. He could imagine himself in many other places, and he felt, how can I say, that freedom he always wanted. And he just kept wondering, will I ever have the freedom to go outside and see if the world really exists or not? Yeah, buddy, the situation is getting a little serious now. He reached out his hand and already saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm finally going to reach it. That's when his father said to him, "Hey son, what are you doing there?" And he replied, "But what's going on? It was really happening, huh?" And the guy didn't care. He kept running there, seeking his freedom in his imagination because it was the only fertile thing he had there, right? And I want to have friends. I want to live my life. I want to find my mother. I want to find out if she was really from Vasco or not. But more than anything, he wanted to survive, to live his life. You understand? That was when his father appeared and gave the guy a hard hit there and told him to wake up to life, you bum. Do you think life is a joke? You just want to suck up. You just want honey. At that moment, when he was getting beaten up a lot there, his father told him, "Look, it seems like you're still clinging to these fantasies of going out to explore the world." That was when he started laughing at the situation, telling his son not to cling to these things. But his son said, "Shut your mouth. You are not my father. You don't command me." His father said he was doing that for his good, that he was trying to help him so he could survive the apocalypse. But he started saying a lot of unnecessary things that began to get into our guy's mind. And he kept talking, and he started to think, man, why do I have to endure all this? I want to get out of here. I don't want to be stuck here anymore. That's when he remembered that if he couldn't get out of there, his life would continue like this. Simply his father would command him his entire life. But he said no. Enough of being stuck here. I want to leave, and I will get out one way or another. I will have to get that key, but it's not yet time to show my true motivation. Let's leave him there enjoying the moment thinking he's still in control. He got closer and closer to his father with the intention of grabbing that key, waiting for him to lower his guard, and thus he waited for him to become defenseless, agreed with everything he was saying at that moment. And now we move on to another part. Our guy is doing physical training there, right, to get buff to protect himself from any situations that might arise ahead. After he was there training, his father said he still wasn't strong enough. The guy wasn't strong, but he was training there. You saw the amount of stuff the guy put on his back simply to make weight, but he couldn't manage to do many push-ups right after and ended up falling to the ground. And now it's over. For sure he will want to beat me. He got closer and closer to him. He started to get very worried. That's when his father extended his hand to him and but what's happening? You never helped me. Why are you doing this? In my opinion, this looks like a trap. Still, he extended his hand and does he really just want to help me? And he even got a little embarrassed there, right? He said, I don't want your help and all, but the guy still took his hand. You see how naive he is. And as soon as his father grabbed his hand, he applied a blow to our guy, knocked him down and threw him to the ground. That was when he explained one of the first rules he had to follow. Firstly, don't trust anyone. You don't know if the person has good or bad intentions towards you. After delivering the blow to the guy, he went off spinning, doing some somersaults, hit the wall, with everything there and crew. And his father told him to be smart because the world belongs to the smart ones. After that, he gave a brief explanation saying that he will continue his training now. Maybe he can even double his training to make it harder. He is training martial arts, strengthening his body and everything, because his father wants him to be strong enough to protect himself, right? Since he won't be there all the time to protect our PR. Also after that, he gave a brief explanation. PR wasn't even listening to the guy anymore because he was very angry, you see. And so he talked and ended up leaving after explaining to him that he will train twice as hard now. And as soon as he left, he took that chance calmly, meaning he let his guard down now. It's the moment. The guy quickly activated his sharing eyes and went after him again. Because he sensed a slip from his father. He sensed that smell. The smell of victory. And as soon as he started running at high speed, he grabbed a shard that was on the ground to use as a weapon. He went after him to get him from behind, dude. Low blow. I like it after waiting for that so-awaited moment. He was wanting to catch him off guard. He made that famous jump. Wow, kid, will it work, huh? And as he jumped, he was already meticulously measuring everything. I will hit the guy's head, grab the key, and get out of here. Well, so far, everything was calculated. Everything was going right in his mind, right? Because live there is very different, and he was already celebrating. Got it! The great victory. Finally, I'm getting out of here. That's when his father, gosh, the guy is never off guard to give you an idea. See, when he thought his plan finally worked, his father ended up showing him a big reality he had forgotten, and his father stood there simply paralyzed, and he calmed down. He is really trying this here, and he started to get more and more serious. There he saw a reflection on the ground, and oops, but what is happening? This reflection is from a glass. Something like that. And as soon as he looked back, his son ended up lifting that blade, and the reflection hit, and ended up lighting up the ground, and dude, the guy tried to catch me in an ambush. The guy is really tough. That's when his father turned there at full speed. It was an insane speed. For you to have an idea, our protagonist got scared and stayed there. As he realized so quickly his father seemed like a very normal person at that moment, went after him, but he already went right now that I did it. I'll have to go to the end, right? I want to see the result. Even so, he did not retreat. You see, he grabbed the glass there and went after him. His father started to look like a normal person again and ended up dodging. And dude, the guy dodged. The guy is an animal. After he dodged, the guy went there and caught him off guard. For you to have an idea, our protagonist was paralyzed after he gave a strong kick right on the guy's face. And then now it's coming. Now it's coming. Take it, the guy received such a strong kick that he ended up passing out. He woke up with the sound of water falling and hey, but what happened again, huh? I ended up taking a hit in the face, the ambush. He kept failing, but it's all right. Everything is fine. How can I say this? The guy has tried 600 times to ambush your father, and all 600 times he tried, they all went wrong. For you to have an idea, after all of those ended up failing, he said that he is really progressing there, right? Since he tried again to ambush him with that piece of glass. Your father said he was really happy because he saw that the guy is getting stronger, getting smarter even. But Prat doesn't feel any of that. The guy is getting more and more dissatisfied with his life, you see. Your father locked the guy up and left. Said that he would oversee his training from now on again, once more. And our Prat was left there reflecting on his life, everything he did. The guy started walking down the hallway for you to have an idea of what he's going to do now. Prat was there thinking, and now what am I going to do, man? I don't hear any noise, I can't do anything, I don't hear any sound of anything, man. This is very sad, you see, because the guy doesn't do anything else but stay locked up, you know? But he said if he focuses a lot there, he can hear the noises on the other side. He decided to put his ear to the wall and he said, man, I'm going to focus a little here. I want to listen. If I keep doing this, I can hear very far, you see. And he stayed there, focused, and he managed to hear the sound of something turning, the sound of birds there. He also heard the sound of some people talking there too. And man, there's definitely something on the other side. My father is lying about all this. Apocalypse. Things that are going to happen from now on, and I can't stay here at all. I have to get out of here as fast as possible because out there is a big world, and I want to take a walk in it, and even look for his mother because he doesn't believe his father that his mother is gone too, you see. And he stayed there thinking about everything his father said about the apocalypse, and man, all of this is a lie. All that he said was just to keep me here, you know, and he stayed there thinking. Then he stayed there thinking about his mother and everything he said that she ended up jumping off the bridge, and he was there, man, I am sure he is lying about her too. His father said very convincingly that his mother was very afraid of the apocalypse, went away and died. And after that, Prat was there thinking, is he really telling the truth or is he just lying to me? Prat didn't believe any of that at all. But he decided to take a little nap first, right? Because he had a lot to do and there was a plan to get the key. His father was in the hallway laughing a lot, you see. He seemed very happy that his son had set up an ambush for him. He ended up getting a call there and oops, but this person shouldn't call me now, something is happening. And as soon as he decided to answer the call, he seemed quite scared and very surprised too. He said the following, hey, I told you, you can only call me if it is really urgent. That's when we cut to another part showing our Prat sleeping peacefully. The person started talking to him, gave some more news because it didn't seem good at all because the look on the guy there seemed kind of creepy from my point of view after he started listening. It cut to our pro, then cut back to him again, and then he ended up hanging up that call. But as soon as he hung up, he stayed there. But is that really true what you said? Yes, it's really true. The guy threw the phone on the ground and started to look like he was going to cry. He ended up crouching down and started crying right there, you know? And then he started, man, it's not possible. How can this happen? Was it some bad news? And now we cut to another scene. Our pro woke up at that exact moment. I mean, not exactly at that moment, but the next day. He started to observe his father, who seemed very different. He was mumbling a lot of things, and he asked, hey, did something happen, Dad? Hey, Dad, did something happen? It was then that he tried to move, but saw that he couldn't move at that moment. But why was that? Because the guy was tied to the chair, and he started to ask his father some questions. Why am I tied up? Is something happening? And why are you in that lamentable state? And Man, it's no use. I've been trying to talk to him for hours and he's not responding. It was then that he tried to break the ropes with brute force, you know? I don't know if he has the strength, but let's see. After trying, he tried and he started to break some ropes with ease, you know? And he said, I'm getting there. A little more and I'll definitely make it. It was then that his father appeared before him. Hey, but what are you doing, you useless kid? And he said, stop it. And the pro started to feel very scared at that moment. Man, there's something wrong. Why is he doing this to me? He's never done this until now, you know? And he asked what the reason was for him being in such a decadent state. And he didn't say much. He just said that from now on he would stay in that chair tied up until further notice. But he said, no, I don't want to stay tied up in this chair. And his father, no, you will stay tied up in this chair until further notice. Are you crazy? How am I going to live tied up in a chair? And he started complaining more and more to his father. But his father said, no, you will continue tied up in this chair until further notice. It's for your own good. And the pro, shut up, you crazy. What do you mean for my own good? You want to keep me tied up here my whole life like you did to my mother. You keep lying, saying she went to Vasco. It's obvious you're lying to me too. I can't take your lies anymore. I'm getting out of here and I'm going to get the key you have. His father was very impressed by the nonsense he was talking, even though he wouldn't make it. He was talking, and the pro was very angry, and he tried with all his strength to break the ropes that were tying him up. He tried, and his father just watched while he made that small act of freeing himself from the ropes. His father kept watching more and more as he tried to do something. Hey, I think I can't break these ropes, you know? His father stayed there. Go, I know you will. Try a little more, try a little more. And his father started to lose his mind a bit because the guy was already not right in the head. And hit our prota, because he was trying to get loose from the chair there too, and the prota didn't do much. No, he just stood still and received a big impact there in his face. Boy, the impact was really, really rough. You see, man, the guy went flying. I think his skull shook. You see, after that, the prota was kind of unconscious, right? Because the impact was very strong. His father ended up lifting him again and said, you're going to stay tied to this chair. And if you try to get out again, I'll hit you again, you see. But he said, there, I want to see you try. I'm not going to be like you. I want to get out of here. I want to see the world. You can't hold me my whole life. And he started to try again to get loose. You see, because the guy is persistent. And as soon as he tried again, his father ended up hitting him again right away, and he was there. Come on, I know you can do it. Come on, come on, come on. And the prota was lying there on the floor. Obviously, the guy was very scared there, right? Even so, he tried again to get loose from those ropes. And once again, another hit to the kid's head to make him smart and hit here and hit there. Our prota ended up passing out there on the floor from so many hits he ended up giving there on our prota. He even started to tremble there because it's clear that the guy got beaten a lot really, you see. And so the glass on the table started to tremble all over. From so many hits his father was giving the kid, and he started to remember his father there and everything. Because his father usually hit him like a crazy person, right? Every time he hit him, it was a different feeling. But the feeling was getting stronger and stronger, but it seems that when he's hitting our prota this time, when he's tied to the chair, it was a totally different feeling that he felt, you understand. And finally, he had managed to get loose from the chair, and finally I managed to get loose, and now he was very surprised there and ended up looking to the side, and my father will definitely not let me get out of here. He already prepared himself there to receive another slap in the face. He soon looked smiling there and said to his father, Dad, I finally managed to escape. It was then that his father looked at him. The guy was already preparing to hit him in the face again, but the prota didn't make a sad or angry face, no. He was looking at his father. He felt there a different feeling than he was feeling. Good, why is he making this face? Usually he doesn't make this face when he's hitting me. He started to look there more and more at his father, and that feeling he was feeling. There was a feeling of great sadness that was there in his look, and he started there. Dad, why are you making this face while you're hitting me? All this was in his thought, because his father was crying at that moment while he was going to hit his son. And there's something wrong. Why is he crying while he's hitting me? Usually he doesn't do that. Usually he smiles when he's hitting. But now his face seemed very sad, but why is he doing that? Our prota could very well dodge. But he ended up accepting the blow right in the middle of the chest. After this hit, the prota was just there wondering why he was crying. Is there a reason? For what reason? And he ended up passing out there. The hit was so strong that the crazy guy stayed until he passed out, you see. To give you an idea, his father there said something to him, and then CR went away. Our PR ended up waking up there, and he was like, oh, what's our lesson this time? His father was explaining to him that the safest place in the apocalypse is going to be here, this room. And rule number 1, he can't leave the basement. He has to stay in the basement his whole life. His father made it very clear that if he breaks this rule, he might end up going to Vasco. His father left everything prepared because 1 hour or another, the gears might start turning. He already put a lot of supplies down there in the basement and everything, so the crazy guy wouldn't worry about food or water. And his father was explaining to him, man, you can't leave the basement. You have to stay in the basement your whole life. That's how our PR ended up waking up from the hit his father gave him. And he was like, how long was I knocked out, huh? He looked around and saw that his father wasn't there. He even thought, where did he go? Or is this a trap? Well, something is wrong. Even so, he stayed alert, thinking about his father's face when he hit him. He thought, well, there's not much for me to do anyway, so I'll stay in my corner and wait for him to come back. But then he felt something moving there. The gears finally started turning, and he was like, I knew something was going to happen. And now that the gears finally started turning, what will happen? Our dear guy stayed there waiting. Then the gears reached their final point. All the doors that were closed started to open at that moment, and he was very surprised. He wondered, what's happening? Why did all the cells open at the same time? But he wasn't really worried. It could be a trap, a plan by his father, but he didn't care at all because he had finally gotten the freedom he so desired to get out of there. He saw this chance and grabbed it like a golden opportunity. He ran out at high speed saying, finally I will be happy. I want to feel the grass under my feet. I want to get out of here. I want to see the surface. I want to see the sun. And he ran out, desperate, looking like someone who needed to go to the bathroom. For sure he wasn't holding back, you see. He thought it was a plan by his father, but if it was a plan, his father would surely have already stopped our PR from following the whole path. And he kept running because he didn't know if it was a plan, if his father would show up out of nowhere and stop him, from walking. And he kept walking. Then he reached a staircase, and this staircase leads to the surface. He was already thinking, will this staircase really take me to the surface? He kept hoping, take me to the surface, take me to the surface. The guy was so convinced that even I believed the staircase would take him to the surface, you see. And as he kept climbing the stairs, he ended up opening the manhole cover. And as soon as he opened it, a very bright light came to his face. Hey man, I finally managed to get here on the surface. Everything I dreamed of, everything I imagined, everything I did, man, it's really real. He was so happy, the guy was just amazed by the scene in front of his eyes. He was like, wow, Tokyo, car, taxi, oh humans, I can't believe this. He saw a bunch of buildings and people there too, right? Because his dad had said the apocalypse had already happened. And he was very surprised because everything was perfectly fine. Everyone there happy. Everyone enjoying the breeze of the moment and everything. And he knew from the beginning that his dad was lying and saying all that stuff to him, the apocalypse, people were long gone and everything. He saw a person there and the bald guy asked him, hey man, what are you doing in the middle of the street? Can you get out of the middle of the street? He was so surprised that he stood there for a while and said, man, you're human finally. Man, I found you, you're human. Oh man, you're bald. Where's your hair? And the bald guy thought, this guy's crazy, I better call the police while I'm here. Just so you have an idea, at that moment, he started talking a bunch of things about his dad, right? Why he lied, why he said there was no one else besides the two of them down there, and the guy was so happy he started running back and forth, right? Because the long-dreamed freedom he wanted finally arrived, and he thought, man, I've dreamed my whole life about doing these things here, and now that I'm finally going to be free, I'll go wild and run around. After that, he started thinking, well, I managed to escape from a place that would be impossible to escape from. But now that I'm here, what's the point of me being up here? I got out, saw everything I wanted. But what is this feeling I'm having now? I'm feeling like something is missing here. And he started to get a little paranoid, Like, what am I going to do now that I'm up here when I don't know if my mom supported Vasco or not and my dad is crazy in the head? What am I going to do? His father got deeply into his head and he started thinking, man, I should go back to the basement. But he decided, no, I won't go back there. Now that I've managed to get out of the basement, no way am I going back there. He started remembering that his father left him there. He remembered his father's first rule, never leave the basement. And he thought, man, I really shouldn't have left. That's when he looked to the side and saw that many people were happy, enjoying the moment. People were coming back from school. People were smiling. There were kids playing with balloons and everything. And he thought, well, I think I made the right choice by leaving the basement. From my point of view, man, you should never have left that basement because a lot is going to happen. And as he saw everyone was happy, kids running, people playing, people happy, he thought, now that I'm thinking from this perspective, I did well to leave the basement. He tried to convince himself, I did the right thing. I did more than the right thing by leaving that basement, and everyone is happy because that's what matters. Then he remembered that everything his father said about the apocalypse, that the world was over, was all a lie. Now I'm going to start living my real life and everything. Everyone was happy until the moment the balloon went up. Oh, girl, someone should have held that balloon. As the balloon went higher and higher, he thought, see, the world is really beautiful. The apocalypse will never happen. My father was lying. The balloon kept rising, and it ended up blocking his view of the sun. Everyone was happy, enjoying the moment, talking about whether they were going out that day or not. Students were playing, telling jokes. That's when the real terror began. An earthquake started happening. A loud noise started, and his father said, "You shouldn't have left the basement." Then it cut to another scene where a lot of pigeons that were flying started falling to the ground, and people were like, "What's happening? Why are all these pigeons falling from the sky?" Everyone was surprised. No one knew what it was. It seemed like a natural phenomenon. The pigeons kept falling, and our balloon kept going higher and higher. As the balloon went up, everyone saw an eclipse happening at the same time. Out of nowhere, literally, everyone was like, "What's happening? Why is that huge thing blocking the sun?" People were stunned, because it seemed like a phenomenon. Even the protagonist stood there thinking, man, what's happening? Then a lot of things started to create whirlwinds and head towards Earth. Everyone was wondering what it was. Even I didn't know what it was until it got closer. It started descending towards our beloved planet Earth. Everyone was stunned, and everyone started feeling very scared because it was something very strange. People were looking, some were filming, others were pointing and saying, "What is that?" And the protagonist soon thought, is this the long-awaited apocalypse? Yeah, the guy left the basement on the same day the apocalypse happened. Just to give you an idea of how unlucky he is. As soon as he left the basement, a giant monster's mouth literally started appearing. The protagonist thought, man, now we're really screwed. I knew I shouldn't have left that basement. The monster started getting closer and closer to Earth along with those whirlwinds and a lot of flying things moving at high speed. It wasn't one, it wasn't two, it wasn't three, it was a bunch. And the guy just stood there observing everything happening. Just so you know how unlucky he is. Idea, no one moved. Everyone stayed still there until the thing reached the ground for you to get an idea of how dumb the guys are once again. He ended up remembering his father. Your father told him not to leave the basement, and the guy, oh darn, I left the basement. Why did I leave the basement? He had to go back to where he came from, but a small problem happened. And the problem was that the guys arrived sooner than him at the sewer opening he exited. Understand, for you to get an idea, as soon as the dudes made contact there with the ground, he started entering all corners there of the sewer and everything else his father told him. Never to leave the basement seems like there's something there that's automatic. It locks the door. You understand a security system, and at that moment the security system was activated there. Nonetheless, it didn't take long because the dude ended up staying still there. While he observed that situation, it wasn't just him. Everyone there stayed still while those things there in front of him were getting closer and closer to the people. No one knew what to do. No one knew how to react for you to get an idea. The guys just stood there simply, well, let's see what it is, right? Let's wait for him to come here to us, right? That's when the dude gave a look at the other, pulled him right with all the stuff there surrounding him, and the guys were watching, right? Because it's interesting from my point of view, the dude was asking for help, yelling and everything, the guy's gone. Now I'm done. I'm doomed. I knew I shouldn't have left home today after the monster let the big one out there. He felt a giant mouth heading his way. Oh, the size of the mouth of the thing. And the dude, bang, it's done now. He's become food there from the dude. Everyone just stood there thinking, man, this must be a movie, right? That's when the dude's glasses flew one way, and his head started flying there too towards him, and everyone, well, I'm sure this isn't a movie, no saw. Everyone started panicking there, the guys. Hey, I think this is real. You saw his head flew. Finally, the penny dropped. Everyone there started screaming. Everyone there started running, talking. And now what are we gonna do? Someone call the police. Someone call something. Everyone ran there trying to save their lives. But hold on, what's our prot doing right now while everyone there was running, saving their lives, desperate? We have a young man with earphones listening to a little song there loud. And Eli, buddy, why is everyone running? Even? I have no idea. But I'll keep here in my world. The dude was listening to Mika there, calmly thinking it was some accident, but then a giant mouth appeared there and crunched the dude gone. Now it's Vasco. Wow. Buddy carefree dude in the middle of the street with headphones gone, Vasco. That one's pretty smart indeed. And now we cut to another scene where the monster there ended up throwing a bunch of stuff there at the people who were walking in front to slow them down so they could proceed. That's how he gave a jump and appeared another one there right in the scene, cutting everyone, giving that old Tramontino to everyone after he Tramontino there, everyone. Man, these guys are really tough. You see, they started getting more and more desperate there because one grabbed the other's arm. The other was already there eating the other too. The thing was getting really tense here, you see. While one was taking care of another, the other was taking care of everyone there. And it seemed like a horror scene. You see, everyone screaming, everyone there trying to save their lives until the goat beard there trying to run and the PR is standing still. The guy was paralyzed with fear because the only thing going through his mind was my dad. My dad was right.